So how do you tell the difference between, say, a natural anomaly, a defect on the image, maybe a retouched image, or an alien spacecraft? Is there something that you can define that's different between each one of those four?
Good question. And I get a lot of questions like that when I do presentations for what I found. The research has to be done in this field on camera systems to start with. Every satellite system that goes up has different CCDs or CMOS systems that capture the data. And each one is affected differently by either more intensity or less intensity of the cosmic rays that do strike the system itself, the hardware. And you will see definitive lines, dots, and streaks that happen across a CCD image. That's natural. The scientists know it's a degradation they can't help. They try to wrap it in blankets that will absorb some of the cosmic rays so the effects are minimized. But for the citizen scientist, it takes a lot of research to find out what is already known for artifacts within these systems, and a lot of peer-reviewed journals that specifically talk about different high-speed particles, cosmic rays, muons, bosons, whatever is striking the CCDs and what those look like. So my answer to people is you just have to do the research. You have to understand it for yourself, because it's very easy to fool yourself that something is a UFO when in fact it really isn't, and most of it isn't. What I look at in my images is something that's what you'd call along the lines of a Gestalt principle, where you have proximity, similarity, things that general psychology would help us to understand how we bring this outside world into our minds and cognitively make sense of it. And so in space imagery, if you see a single streak or a single line, it's probably going to be a cosmic ray. But if you see three in a row that are side by side with a couple of dots in between, then you start wondering, well, why that combination? Or if you see a cross or a plus sign with four dots inside or around, perfectly aligned as a cube structure, that's normally not considered natural, especially when it comes to solar imagery, because some of these satellites are millions of miles away from the Earth. There's nothing out there between them and the sun. So when you see symmetrical objects, things that have patterns to them that are not normally associated with asteroids, comets that are common, then you start putting that in a different file and making a case for further investigation.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the more revealing images that you've come across?
Well, the very first one that made me go quiet, I didn't talk to family or friends for a couple of days, was a Soho image that was, I think, done or shot on 1996, February 1st. It was my daughter's birthday, February 1st. And it had, right at the far corner of the field of view, where the sun is always in the center of these images. So you have to imagine with me that the field of view has about 3 or 4 suns on either side as far as space. So it's got a lot of space involved, not just the sun in the center, but you can see a lot around it. And in the upper right corner was a group of lights that was not quite diamond shaped, but pear shaped. And there were 6 across the top and 6 across the bottom, evenly spaced, well organized, and had nothing to do with an asteroid, comet, cosmic rays, camera artifacts. It was simply not supposed to be there, and it was there. That was a year after I started looking into all these images. It's been 4 years since that time, and I'm actually up to about 45,000 now. Images that make you scratch your head and go, what am I seeing? Because it's not natural and it's not a camera problem.
Okay. Have you sought the help of other experts in the field to kind of gauge their reaction to what these things might be?
I did initially, and unfortunately, some of the experts that I had gone to with PhDs and doctors attached to their name are hesitant to give me a yes, because it's really my research. They haven't delved into it. They haven't worked with me on what I'm doing. And I find the tendency for PhDs in this field not to want to lose credibility by leaning into this with a yes or no. I'm encouraged. They don't discourage me, uh, but it's interesting to watch the humanness of what if this guy's right? What do we do now? And I'm not going to just give away my PhD as a support when
Yeah. Yeah.
they just haven't had the time to come behind me and either replicate my data or work with me on it. So I haven't got anybody's attention yet that has that kind of time to follow what I'm doing.
Well, you never know. They may very well be watching what you're doing, but if they come forward and support you, they probably don't want to give you the validity of what you're doing.
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's real possible.
Yeah.